I've spent the last couple of weeks going over my midseason prospect rankings for the 2026 NFL Draft, going over my top 10s, some honorable mentions, and today I put all those guys onto a big board. I'm going to give you my top 150 prospects in this draft class, and I got to admit, I got to be honest. We've been doing these videos for about 2.5 weeks, and over the course of that time, some rankings have changed. We'll go over all those changes today. So without further ado, let's get into this sucker. We're starting from the bottom with 150, Le'Veon Moss, running back out of Texas A&M. He's a nice home run threat, but outside of that, there's not really much dynamic about his game. And then at 149, defensive tackle Dante Corleone, the Godfather out of Cincinnati. He 6 foot, 331 pounds, nice fire hydrant build. The production's modest. But a dude that just plays with that absolute dog in him. We will need to figure out the medicals on him because he entered the year with blood clots in his lungs. I think he's only missed one game at the beginning of the year, the season opener, because of it. So that's going to be important during his offseason draft process. After that, at 147 and 148, just bit my tongue. Don't mind me. I got a couple of guards. I got DJ Campbell out of Texas. And then Jaden Roberts out of Alabama. He's the interesting one here because in terms of size, length, strength, athleticism, probably should be a day 2 pick. He was a little banged up coming into the year and has been getting worked back into the rotation and just got that starter role back in the Tennessee game. He has played really well over the course of the last 2 weeks. So if that continues, that should move him up. At 146, Rayshawn Benny out of Michigan, defensive tackle. Little undersized. I think he's going to be a little bit smaller than that 6'3", 300. Twitched up, gets after it. Good player. At 145, Xavier Scott, corner out of Illinois. I believe he went down with an ankle injury for the rest of the season. This was about a month ago. But he is a limited athlete. Probably means he's going to be a slot player or maybe a box safety in the NFL, which is fine. I think he's just a hell of a good player, and it was kind of hard to rank him specifically. Malachi Lawrence, the edge player out of Central Florida. He's got some length to him. I don't love how he plays the run, but I think he's got like 31 or 33 pressures, 6 sacks on the year. Very productive. Cade Klubnik, quarterback out of Clemson. He's undersized. I think he's got the arm talent, though. I really, really do. It's just not been a great year for him, nor has it been a great year for Clemson in general. Zane Durant, defensive tackle out of Penn State, another undersized, twitched up pass rusher, who might be limited in the run game and might be more of a role or situational specific player. Very similar in some regard to Rayshawn Benny out of Michigan. But let's move up on this sucker. I got at 141, Mikhail Kamara out of Indiana. His frame is maxed out. He's 6'1", so he's got a shorter stature. The frame is maxed out. He's got limited length, but he's been a productive player throughout his whole career. He's going to be an older prospect as well. I believe he is from the 2020 recruiting class. And then a couple of running backs here. Katron Allen out of Penn State. He wasn't my cup of tea coming into the season. He wasn't my cup of tea last year. But there's no denying he's just exceptionally productive. He might not be the fastest guy, but he can break tackles. He's got really good vision. Above him, Desmond Reed's my boy. I love Desmond Reed, the running back out of Penn State. Stupid undersized, 5'6", 169, but he's got that home run speed. He's twitched up. He's been a very good pass catcher. He also impacts the return game. I think he does enough to overcome that size to warrant a selection somewhere on day 3. Another undersized player, but this time at wide receiver, Deion Burks out of Oklahoma, kind of resurfacing this year after last year. What banged him up last year? It was a soft tissue injury. He also had a concussion. So he missed a big part of last year, but he's been playing really, really well. Unfortunately, the passing game since John Mateer has returned, spoiler alert, I decided to put John Mateer as a return, someone who is returning to school. So he's not going to be on this big board. I'll probably bring that up in a little bit later for y'all. But yeah, since Mateer's returned from the injury, the passing game just hasn't quite been the same, and Burke's numbers have gone down a little bit. Max Llewellyn, edge out of Iowa, not really used a lot in the run game. He is going to be 24 when he starts his rookie year, and right now just kind of looks like a DPR threat, but golly, he plays some good football. 136, DJ McKinney out of Colorado, playing solid, build is slender. And then I got a couple of defensive tackles here. At 135, David Gusta out of Kentucky. I worry about his run contain, but I'm kind of... I kind of want to know if that's just what Kentucky's asking him to do specifically, because he consistently just kind of gives up his gap. And then Xavier Harris out of Ole Miss. Great size, 6'7", 330 pounds. He would be a lot higher if he did not have some character red flags, if you didn't know. Prior to the season in 2023, he was arrested for driving under the influence and felony fleeing. And then prior to the 2024 season, he was arrested for domestic violence and obstruction. Initially, it was reported he was removed from the program. However, he remained with the team, had 3 starts in 2024. He's been playing well in 2025, but them character red flags are... they're going to scare a lot of teams off. Deontay Lawson at 133 might surprise some people. I'm very concerned about how thin he might be. He was reported to be at spring practice around 118, but that makes sense. He was coming off the ACL injury, but he's not that thick of a player. He's just not. And this, I love what he puts on the field, but I question how effective will he be in a stronger, more physical NFL. So he's here at 133. I really liked him coming into the year, but he was one of those guys that I said has a very real floor and will probably get passed up by guys with higher ceilings. All right, let's roll on. And yep, there we go. I got wide receiver Josh Cameron out of Baylor at 132. He's 6'1", 218 pounds. Great size. Wears number 43, I believe, or maybe it's 34. Basically, he wears a running back number, and he can create after the catch. He's got some good ball skills. Just the consistency isn't quite there. He only has one game this season with over 100 receiving yards. Keon Sabb out of Alabama at 131. I love this dude's game. I really, really do. Flies everywhere. This year, he's healthy. He's shown, hey, no, the ball skills are good. Could be a riser when it's all said and done for me, when guys start to decide if they want to declare a return. And then wide receiver CJ Daniels out of Miami. Good size at 6'2", 200 pounds. Very much a possession type of wide receiver. Had a big year at Liberty. Goes to LSU last year and kind of gets lost in the shuffle. Goes to Miami this year and has been very solid. Jalen Husky, safety out of Maryland, 6'2", 201 pounds. Just a hyper competitive type of player with solid range. He reads and reacts very quickly and just has played everywhere in the defensive backfield over the course of his collegiate career. He was a corner over at Bowling Green before transferring to Maryland and moving to safety. The build looks a lot more slender than what he's billed at. He does kind of give you corner type vibes with his build. And there are just times where I feel like he kind of like lingers too long in the backfield and might end up being a player you might just kick back at corner. Above him at 128, and a matter of fact, 127. Let's go over these tackles together. I got Blake Miller out of Clemson and then Drew Shelton out of Penn State. These are guys that check a lot of boxes. They need to be stronger. I don't think they're built quite yet for the NFL when it comes to play strength. I would like to see that improve. That's why they're kind of here right next to one another. 126, Anthony Smith out of Minnesota. Could return. I believe he's a redshirt junior. Unique build at 6'6", 285 pounds. Great length, violent hands. I'm kind of wonder if he ends up just adding more weight and kick into the interior because he just doesn't have that bendiness for the outside. Carson Beck, quarterback out of Miami. I have him here at 125. He's had a rough go at it the last couple of weeks. He has moved down. Other guys have moved up. He will be an older prospect. I just think there's some limitations. It's not like he's got the best arm in the world or the biggest arm in the world, but he is, for the most part, a decisive passer that I think can function, like can operate your offense efficiently. I think it kind of gives him a high floor as a backup in the NFL, but probably not much more. But let's keep getting into this sucker. As I got Lander Barton, linebacker out of Utah, here at 124. I also have Austin Romaine, linebacker out of Kansas State, at 123. Romaine, he's kind of an old school thumper. Lander Barton is a little bit more athletic, but I wouldn't say nearly as productive as Romaine. And then I got a couple of tight ends here. I love both these tight ends with Terrence Carter Jr. out of Texas Tech. He's at 121. And then Justin Jolie, tight end out of NC State at 122. These are guys that are a little bit undersized. Not going to be typical inline guys, but what they can do in the receiving game is immense. What they can do after the catch is immense. Akeem Messidor, edge out of Miami, here at 120. Listen, he's going to be 25 heading into his rookie year. He's older. He's a bit of a bull in a china shop. I am intrigued to see what the length will be because I think it's probably going to be sub 33, or at least it's going to be around there. So he's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Think like Tyler Barron. Was that the edge rusher formerly at Tennessee out of Miami from last year? Think about how he fell in the draft because I see some similarities there. At 119, Hezekiah Massis, corner out of Cal. He's a very quick-footed athlete who does a really good job mirroring receivers. He probably has at least the most prolific ball skills of any of the corners in this class thus far this season. He brings a lot of special teams experience. However, the build is a little slender, and I wouldn't say he's like the fastest guy out there. It's kind of build up speed. There are times he can get dusted at the line if a receiver is able to be effective with their release. And then running back Mark Fletcher Jr. out of Miami, big bruiser, reminds me a lot of Damian Martinez, who was the run back at Miami, previously of Oregon State last season. Great size. It's not like he's going to do anything too dynamic. It's not great speed, but I mean, he's also 225. He's banged up. I don't know if he plays the game against Syracuse this weekend. Daquan Wright, tight end out of Ole Miss, man. 6'4", 255. Checks a lot of boxes. Growing as a blocker. It's probably the nicest way to put it. Brendan Sorsby, quarterback out of Cincinnati, here at 116. Listen, I get it. You like the decision making. He's been very, I don't want to say conservative, careful with the ball to keep it out of harm's way. Faced better competition this past weekend against Utah, and it all went to hell. The completion percentage took a nosedive. The interception showed up. I feel like a lot of the things I said about him over the summer, because I think I talked about him a little bit in my summer scouting report. The ball placement's so inconsistent with him, but I get it. He checks a lot of boxes, but you could just look at the adjusted completion percentage. It's sub 70%. That's not ideal. He needs to be more accurate with the football, but I will say the decision making has gotten better. We haven't seen those Will Levis type of turnover worthy throws like we saw in 2024. But I got him here at 116. I think a lot of people are actually gonna like him just because of the build and the arm strength. Let's move on up. As Emmanuel Pregnon, the guard out of Oregon. He's going to be an older prospect. He's from the 2020 recruiting class, but he might be playing the best football of anyone on that Oregon offensive line. And that's kind of in spite that I'm going to have 2 Oregon offensive linemen ranked ahead of him, but he's playing good football. He could be a riser. I mean, we just saw him in Ryan Wilson's first round mock draft. I'm not there with it. Defensive tackle, Lee Hunter out of Texas Tech, coming in at 114. I love this dude. I wish he would use his strength more because, I mean, he's 6'3", 330. But he wants to be a disruptor. If you're looking for a penetrating, disrupting nose tackle, he is it. Logan Jones, center out of Iowa, coming here at 113. A little undersized, but phenomenal athlete. Playing some good football this year. Trey, do I got a pronunciation down for Trey here? Trey Zune, I believe is how it's pronounced. The third out of Texas A&M. I think he ends up being a guard. He's been playing tackle, been playing good football, but I do think he projects best as a guard in the NFL. Couple of safeties here at 110. Bray Hubbard out of Alabama. At 111, Bishop Fitzgerald out of USC. I firmly think these are guys that are going to be more box safeties. They can maybe place like a too high, a split safety, but they bring some really good ball skills. Xavier Chaplin out of Auburn, the tackle, very gifted in terms of length and size, has been exposed much this year. Penalties have still been a problem. He's probably been one of my bigger fallers as the season has gone on. Sawyer Robinson, quarterback out of Baylor. He's 6'3", 218. He's going to check some boxes, but much like Sorsby, except for I think maybe there might be a little bit more consistency when it comes to Robertson. He just runs hot and cold, and his accuracy can be all over the place during those stretches. At 107, Derek Moore, edge out of Michigan. I think he's done a good job kind of shaking the DPR type. If you don't know, DPR, designated pass rush only. He's played the run, I think, a bit better. But I still don't see that pop in his game. Moving on up. Here, I'm going to make sure we stop at 100. We got corner Will Lee, the third out of Texas A&M at 106. He's been okay this year. I think last year was probably better than this year, but I think he's got a safe floor for the corner position. At 105, Tanner Koziol, the tight end out of Houston. Slender build. He's more of a jumbo wide receiver. Long build, someone that's not going to consistently play in line, but a phenomenal pass catcher. Trey Moore, safety out of Duke, coming here at 104. We're waiting for him to return off of the ACL injury he suffered in the bowl game last year. Center Parker Brailsford out of Alabama. He's undersized, but he's got that dog in him. Unfortunately, that has come with penalties. At 102, Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker out of Texas Tech, and he might just continue to rise. He's going to be 24 entering his rookie season. And honestly, you look at his size and athletic profile, nothing really pops out. But he plays with his hair on fire. He's all over the field, and he consistently forces fumbles. It's just kind of insane. And then Bear Alexander, defensive tackle out of Oregon, could be much higher, probably should be much higher because we've seen the talent this year. It's finally the potential is turning into production when it comes to him. It's just there will I got a character red flag with him because of you go back and look at how he left USC. That could leave a bad taste in people's mouths where it's okay, you decide to redshirt and go into business for yourself. Are you a team player? This is the same guy that had the USC profile picture while visiting, or he posts him visiting Penn State, flexing with the Georgia logo on a tattoo on his arm. So it's like, where okay, where do your allegiances lie? But he's been playing good football. But before we get into my top 100, if you want full access to my big board, my rankings, all my evals, I collect a ton of information, then you might be interested in purchasing my draft guide. We love the NFL draft, and now my draft guide is available for purchase. It comes with over 500 player backgrounds and close to 300 player evals. It updates throughout the whole draft cycle. So when I add a new eval or I change my rankings, you're going to be the first to know. It's going to have all the pro day and combine numbers along with analytics, and it's a Google spreadsheet for right now. So you have to include your email with the purchase, but we will be switching over to a website at the end of the year. And if you get it now, it's going to be cheaper now than it will be later. It's a great way to support the channel. And as always, much appreciated, much obliged. At 100, I have Denai Dennis Sutton out of Penn State, the edge rusher. A very powerful build. Started the year hot as Penn State has struggled, fired their head coach. His production also has begun to dip. So I feel like we're kind of now looking at him more as a higher floor play in the NFL. At 99, Wendell Moe Jr. out of Tennessee, playing good football. Wish he was a better run blocker at that size, but he's a very good pass protector. At number 98, Julian Neal, corner out of Arkansas. He's 6'2", 208 pounds. So he's got an impressive size and length profile, but he also brings speed to the position. Great athlete, legit ball skills. Over the course of the last 2 seasons, he is a taller corner, so he's a bit upright in his back pedal. Plays a lot of off coverage and does feel like he could be a tick late coming downhill or jumping something underneath. So he doesn't like to let anything get behind him. You watch his tape and you kind of expect more flags with how grabby he is, but I mean, he's got the size and the length to be like, hey, why this guy should be playing more press. At 97, I got Cage Casey out of Boise State. I think he's got a very high floor as a tackle, but curious about the length. At 96, I'm going to try not to butcher this name, but I got Mateen Iberogba. There we go, Iberogba. He's just like a twitched up, little undersized, but twitched up, explosive pass rusher from the interior. He's been one of the more effective pass rushers this season. At 95, I have Nicholas Singleton, running back out of Penn State. Listen, I get it. The production sucked. He really hasn't been productive or had great numbers in terms of some of the metrics you want to see, forced missed tackles and such, yards after contact, since his freshman season. But his speed at that size, his ability in the receiving and the return game, I think keeps him in the day 2 discussion. It's kind of where I'm at with it. At 94, Jake Slaughter, great name by the way, center out of Florida. Very penalized this year and I believe last year as well. Very penalized. Kind of wish you had more sand in the pants, but a very good athlete, light on his feet, team captain, plays with urgency as a blocker. There's a lot to really like about him. At 93, and golly, this feels so stinking low. It is Dalen Everett out of Georgia. And you know what? I think he probably deserves to be higher. Someone was pointing out, it's like, he kind of currently plays in a scheme that doesn't really benefit his skill set. When you put this man in press, when you put him in man coverage, phenomenal. In zone or off coverage, there's so many more hesitancies to his game. So someone I think I'm going to reevaluate and probably deserves to be in the top 75. We'll see. We got a long year. Got a long time to think about it. All right, right above him, I guess I continue with my bad takes. Damani Jackson out of Alabama. All right, guys, listen. Damani Jackson. He checks a lot of boxes: size, speed, length, athleticism. Awful in the run game. Takes the worst angles. Allows massive, huge chunk plays in the run game. Right now, pulling up to see the last two games. He's been effectively moved out of the starting lineup. Got benched in that Missouri game after the after kind of misplaying the Fleetwood. Is that how you say it? The Missouri tight end after misplaying that touchdown on the opening drive. And since then, he has seen his snaps dip. But he's been productive. At least the first half of the season, he was very productive. Teams refused to throw his way. I want to still buy into the talent. I really do. But let's kind of wait. I at least personally want to wait and see how the rest of the year plays out for Jackson. Much like his teammate here, Tim Keenan III out of Alabama. He missed the first few games of the season with I don't recall if it was like I think it may have been a high ankle sprain or something like that. But since coming back to the starting lineup, I think he's been playing good football. Has he blown the top off? No, but he's been effective against the run, solid enough against the pass. He just feels like a good player. So again, someone else that I'm like, okay, let's get more of a sample size this year since he did miss the early part of the season before we really drastically move him. At 90, Kyle Lewis, linebacker out of Pittsburgh, super undersized, but might be the fastest guy in this class at linebacker. Flies all over the field. Phenomenal in coverage, phenomenal as a blitzer. And then at 88 and 89, I have our small twitched up wide receivers who might end up being probably slot players at the NFL. One's Eric Singleton Jr. out of Auburn. The other is Zachariah Branch out of Georgia. Branch has kind of emerged as, no, I am the volume target here at Georgia. So kind of has his star on the rise. Then at 87, Damon Claiborne out of Wake Forest, running back. He's 5'9", 192. Yes, undersized, but he makes up for it by being so stinking fast. Now, being undersized, you worry about the durability, and I think that has kind of been an issue this year. He has been pretty banged up. 86, Carter Smith. Got the tackle here out of Indiana. Could end up being a guard. We got to see what the arm length lies, but you could argue he has been the most productive tackle in college football. He's been very good. Let's keep moving on up. As I got, here, let me get the pronunciation. Torian York, linebacker out of Texas A&M. A little shorter, but I just love his style of game. Gets after it, plays physical, has that dog in him. A little undersized, worry about the play strength, ability to disengage, but he's been a team captain for A&M. He flies all over the field. I just like him too much to really move him out of that day two discussion. While we're talking about linebacker, Isaiah Glasker out of BYU. So I mentioned in my linebacker rankings, he was coming off a bad Utah game that I needed to watch. Decided to move him down. 6 missed tackles in a game was kind of outlandish. Sorry. At 83 and 84, I have your big body possession wide receivers in Elijah Surratt out of Indiana and Jacoby Lane out of USC. Surratt is having a phenomenal year. Lane too. Lane, I think, missed a game or so with injury, but he came back. I think it was in the Michigan game, and I think he started that drive off with a touchdown. So phenomenal. A lot of Lane wasn't necessarily my cup of tea entering the year, but since being on the field, looking at him, I think the route running is definitely much better from him. He might not have like that high end speed. Curious about the drop rate. I haven't personally noticed drops with him this year. And I just want to go make sure. I mean, still 10% drop rate, 3 drops. Was that recently? Okay, yeah, he had a drop in the Notre Dame and a drop in the Nebraska game. Huh. Well, haven't watched the Nebraska tape, so but I'd be intrigued. I think I actually have to go watch the Nebraska tape. Somebody in my comments was talking about the corner from Nebraska. He's on my watch list. He's been on my watch list. Just haven't got around to him. Sounds like he had a really good day shutting down Makai Lemon. So I will go and watch that Nebraska tape. Let's move on. Davidson Igbinosun, corner out of Ohio State. Elite size and speed. Still handsy as hell. I know the penalties are down, but if you watch the tape, he's still handsy as hell, and you worry about that. I think he's got the ability to play safety too, if you want to kind of avoid penalties with him, but the upside is just so massive with him. At 81, Gabe Akis out of Illinois. Another guy I think is a high floor player. I want to see him in the NFL play with his hand in the dirt, because the best part of his game is just how physically strong he is. At 80, Taylon Green, quarterback out of Arkansas. This is your old school type of size at 6'6", 224 pounds. He's got a huge arm. What he can do as a runner, just not a lot of people can do. That's just the truth. He's been a massive playmaker for that Arkansas offense. However, while I think the accuracy's gotten better this year, I wouldn't say it's gotten that much better. And the decision making still. But if you're looking for a high upside project with a ton of tools, it might be your guy. Aaron Graves out of Iowa, defensive tackle, coming here at 79. Matter of fact, I have a couple of edge rushers here. Romello Height here at 77 out of Texas Tech, and Jayshawn Barham out of Michigan at 78. Both these guys are a little undersized. I'm curious about their length. Could they only be DPR options? Barham's going to be interesting because he's played off-ball linebacker a majority of his career. So he kind of has that in his bag. Romello Height, I haven't really gone back and watched like what he has done in the past. I'm talking like, what did he do early in his Georgia Tech days, his USC days? Did he play much off ball, and is that something maybe he can do in the NFL? So I am a bit curious about that. Let's keep it rolling. Isaiah World, offensive tackle out of Oregon here at 76. I said it in my tackles video. He's not necessarily going to be my cup of tea. A lot of people have him in their top 50 and throw him in the first round. I'm not going to be that guy. It's just not me. Defensive tackle Darrell Jackson Jr. out of Florida State, coming here at 75. He's 6'5", 341. Amazing size. Good athlete at that size as well. But I think his tools might be maxed out, which are fine. His tools are phenomenal anyway. I kind of think he is who he is as a player, that there's not going to be much growth from here on out. I had him in my top 50 entering the year, hoping to see a jump up in production. We haven't seen that jump up. Eli Stowers, tight end out of Vandy, coming here at 74. He's someone that could really move up or down this list, because you love what he does as a pass catcher, but the drops, and on top of that, not someone that's going to play a lot in line. So he's a very fascinating player. At 73, AJ Hulsey, the safety out of LSU. Elite instincts, a more build-up-ish type of speed, but kind of probably built for the slot in the box, because he could come downhill with a head full of steam. He's a hard hitter, vicious, but it is a dense build with limited length. Corner, Chris Johnson out of San Diego State, coming in here at 72. Big fan of him, man. Good technician. A couple of tight ends. Michael Trigg, tight end out of Baylor at 70. If you're looking for a phenomenal receiving option, that's him. You're looking for a good blocking option, Joe Royer, who does have some receiving upside, but it's not nearly as high as Triggs. Joe Royer out of Cincinnati here at 71. AJ Harris here at 69. Nice. Could end up being a bit of a faller, or a guy that just returns to school in general. I think that's probably what he's going to end up doing, because I get why people are high on him, muscular build, but I just don't think the production, lack thereof production this year warrants it. He does a good job of deterring quarterbacks from coming his way, but just no real ball production, man. Sorry. All right, we got Whit Weeks, linebacker out of LSU here at 68. He's been banged up the last few weeks, unfortunately, but I love this dude's style of game, man. He's aggressive. He comes in like a heat-seeking missile. Would like to see him be a little bit better in coverage because he's got the athleticism to be. But I love Whit Weeks' game. I love Zakee Wheatley's game, the safety out of Penn State. The common joke on this channel is this man should have so many fumble recoveries because he will play to and through the whistle, and he will look for opportunities to make a big play. So many of his fumble recoveries have just been like, you know what? Actually, the ball carrier's knee was down, or blah, 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 blah. But yeah, no, he's got good size, good length. Could definitely add to his frame, but very good athlete at that size. Let's keep on rolling. Moreland Freeland, tackle out of Georgia. This is probably a projection on my part. Realistically, he probably comes back to school. I believe he's a true junior. Yeah, he's a true junior. Realistically, he probably comes back to school. He's got great size. He moves like really just a jumbo tight end. He needs to be less aggressive in terms of just like, he wants to be first at the point of attack, so he gets caught lunging, even in pass pro, and I don't love that. But I think the makings of a first-round tackle are there. We got Max Clare, tight end out of Ohio State. Now, the production, I get it. A lot of mouths to feed at Ohio State. Was not great early. He had the bad drop against Texas. Then he went on kind of a hot streak, and now it's kind of like here and there. And that's the thing. Sneaking Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, those guys are going to be eaten regardless. It's just a question are there going to be enough scraps for Max Clare, right? Unfortunately. A couple of running backs here with 63, Hollywood Smothers at NC State. He is banged up, missed the last game, which is backup. I think his backup's name is Jaden Scott. Went freaking nuclear, by the way. And then Jadarian Price out of Notre Dame. So here at 63 and 64, these are kind of your jitterbug, home run type of threats. We got Kamari Ramsey, safety out of USC here at 62. And then guard, Jennings Dunker out of Iowa. That's right. I know he's playing tackle, but he's going to be a guard in the NFL. Don't trust. He has enough athleticism to stick on an island in the NFL. The arm length is going to be questionable. He just profiles better at guard, which is great because he's probably the best run blocker in this class. Plays with the nastiest of demeanors. Edge, Mateo Uiagalelei out of Oregon. Still more tools than production, but we have seen a step up in production this year from Mateo. Justice Haynes, who went down with, what was the injury? I think they said he had to get surgery, but he plans on being back this season. Let's see. Yeah, he undergoes foot surgery. And he could miss the remainder of the year. So that's going to be something to watch out for when it comes to Justice Haynes. But he's had a phenomenal year. The vision has improved so much. He's been a big home run threat. And then I got Kevin or KC Concepcion, wide receiver out of Texas A&M. I love this dude. I absolutely do. He's explosive. He's twitchy. He can create after the catch, and now he's gotten a chance to expand that route tree because at NC State they really just didn't do that with him, and he's shown to be that vertical threat. Again, 5'11", 190. It's not ideal size, but believe me, the size could be much more worse. I absolutely love him. And then I got Jake Golday out of Cincinnati, the linebacker. Made Bruce Feldman's freaks list this season just for his speed and movement skills. And he's a hard hitter, but on top of that, a sure tackler. I do think he needs to polish up some of the aspects of his coverage game. There have been some moments in coverage this year. Doesn't mean that he's been complete in coverage this season. Let's move on. Let's get to 51 first. All right. So I got Caleb Banks, the defensive tackle out of Florida. He's going to be 24 entering his rookie season, so older prospect. He's dealt with the foot injury. He had a foot injury entering the year, caused him to miss the first couple of games. Comes back in the LSU game, re-aggravates that foot injury, hasn't played since. I get it. He had a strong end to last season, but that's it. When it comes to his production profile, it's just that. So for me, it's kind of hard to keep him in my top 50. It just is. Zion Young, edge out of Mizzou, coming here at 55. And this is probably one of my biggest risers this year. I kind of had him as a mid to late day 3 guy just because I was like, oh, he's going to be a really good run defender, but I don't think there's enough there as a pass rusher. And then he cleans up his body. He's more sudden, more explosive, gets after it. Big step up as a pass rusher this year. Big step up. Caden Green, guard out of Missouri. He's currently playing tackle, and there might be a good shot that we have to view him as a tackle going forward because he's been playing good football. At 53, Omar Cooper Jr. I'm a sucker for a guy with a good yak. If you're a wide receiver that creates after the catch, you're my type of guy. At 52, Connor Lew, center out of Auburn. He had the season-ending ACL injury, I believe. Yeah, torn ACL. He won't be able to partake in the offseason draft process. I think that probably means he returns, but I'm going to keep him here for now until, well, he decides to return. And then at 51, before we get into that top 50, I have Dylan Thieneman out of Oregon, the safety. I love this dude's game. He's a great athlete. He plays he's kind of a physical tone setter as well. I really just would like, I get it. He can play really wherever in the defensive backfield. I would like to see more center field snaps from him because, well, that's when he had the most ball skills of his career back in his freshman year at Purdue, where he had 6 interceptions. So, man, I guess if wishes could be fishes. But before we get into the top 50, let me talk about our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Download the app, sign up with promo code Broshmo. They match that first deposit up to $1,000 reduce. Whether it's weekly best ball, higher or lower on player stats, you could mix and match. Whether it comes to the NFL, the NHL, the NBA is back. Baseball will be back eventually. You could do all that at Underdog Fantasy. It's a fun way to play. But if you do download the app, if you do sign up with promo code Broshmo, please play responsibly and play within your means. At number 50 is Garrett Nussmeier out of LSU. You may have thought, oh no, we've gone over 100 guys thus far. No Garrett Nussmeier. Is he even on the list? He's on the list. He's on the list, man. I love me a good gunslinger. I don't know if you could really iron out the decision making with him. I know he's been hurt, banged up, dealing with abdominal or some sort of injury, but that does not explain why are you throwing into double and even triple coverage at times. But this is a dude that has to put the team on his back. I mean, the defense kind of does that, but offensively, there's no run game. The offensive line is meh. So, I'm not trying to justify the decision making, but there is a very talented quarterback there. There's some limitations, not ideal size, but I just love how he slings the football. At 49, Caleb Tiranan. I got him listed as a tackle. They're out of Northwestern. Might have sub 33-inch arms, which would be surprising for a 6'7" player, but regardless, if he's a tackler or guard in the NFL, I'm very confident in his ability to succeed at the next level. Dominique Orange, Big Citrus, the defensive tackle out of Iowa State, coming in at 48. He's got a little twitch at 328 pounds, but not completely put together as a pass rusher. Not going to be the most prolific pass rusher along the interior in this class. But at that size, I like the twitch. I like the movement skills. And he's, at the very least, you're getting a very good run defender. Someone who can be just a disruptor. And then 47, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, the safety out of Toledo. A very cognitive, instinctive player. I think he's got a pick 6 this year. Might not be like the craziest athlete, but also he's like 6'3", 209 pounds. So he brings the boom. He brings the hammer. 46, wide receiver Chris Brazel II out of Tennessee. He's long, he's slender, but golly, I love the ball skills. The body control to be able to adjust to off-target passes, the hand-eye coordination, the want to go up and high point the football. It's all fabulous. I love it from him. You could hear me talk about him in my wide receiver rankings. Jonah Coleman coming in at 45, the running back out of Washington. I'm a sucker for a bowling ball type of running back, short and stout. And he is that, man. He is that. At 44, linebacker out of Georgia, CJ Allen. And someone who could definitely move higher. Just kind of stuck in a very, very good linebacker class. But very good athlete. He's the green dot for the defense there. And he has shown ball skills. That's kind of the most important thing for me there when it comes to CJ Allen. At 43, R. Mason Thomas, edge out of Oklahoma. Might not have ideal length. If you're a little undersized, you better be fast as hell. R. Mason Thomas is fast as hell. And then at 42, Brian Parker II out of Duke. He currently plays tackle there at Duke. He's going to have to kick into the interior, whether that's guard or center. But he's just been a cornerstone on that offensive line for the Blue Devils. At 41, Damian Wilson II out of Missouri could return because I think he's got first part of the first round upside. He checks a lot of boxes with length and speed, size. He's got some relatively solid play strength, though there are times where it's like, you kind of get washed in the run game, but just so explosive. And then at 40, it's my dude. It's a Pawnee. It's Poncho, the center over at Oregon. I really liked him coming into the process. Not much has changed. There may be a little concern. I don't think it's necessarily with his anchor, but maybe it's more of a balance issue in pass pro. But he's a nice finisher in the run game. I think he's a relatively solid athlete who plays with good leverage, just in a good thick build. At 39 is the can opener. It's LT Overton out of Alabama. The edge might not be the most productive analytically in this class, but he opens up so much production along that defensive line for Bama. He's going to be not everyone's cup of tea. I think he might end up being a 3-4 end in the NFL. Genesis Smith, the safety out of Arizona, coming in at 38. Really good athlete at 6'2", 204 pounds. Needs to clean up the tackling. He gets kind of bailed out with just how surprisingly strong he is. To where he gets knocked back, but if he has a hand on you, he could literally pull you down just with that hand. Avion Terrell, the corner out of Clemson's here at 37. I kind of project him as a slot. You can play him on the outside. I just don't think he's going to be for every system. And then Anthony Hill Jr., the linebacker out of Texas. He's got some upside to maybe be a edge player in the NFL, but I think he's going to be an off-ball linebacker that you're going to want to blitz and blitz often. At 35, Amari Washington, the defensive tackle out of Oregon. And at 34, I got Caden McDonald, the defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Basically, you got a guy with all of the upside in Washington. He is big. He is explosive. He is powerful. First year as a full-time starter. Need to polish some stuff in his game. Immense upside, though. And then McDonald at Ohio State. He's 6'3", 326. Might be the best run defender in this class. And that just gives him a very high floor. At 33, Colton Hood out of Tennessee, having a solid year, has a pick 6 on the season. Smooth mover. At 32, Jeremy Bernard out of Alabama. I like these type of wide receivers who their floor might be a wide receiver 2 in the NFL. Whether it's operating inside or outside, they have experience at both. They can produce a little bit after the catch. They're nuanced route runners. They can attack all levels of the field. And Bernard is just good at everything. But what is he great at? I think probably the contact balance. Just he absorbs contact really well. Caleb Lomu at 31, the tackle out of Utah, playing left tackle there for the Utes. Could return because I think he's got top 10, top 15 potential, but still developing. At 30, Lenore Sellers, quarterback out of South Carolina. He's got all the tools. He's in a terrible situation in South Carolina. They have one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL, in college football. They just fired their OC, Shula, which that offense has just been terrible this year. It just has. And that's not to put the blame elsewhere. Because Sellers was given a lot on his plate to operate the offense, and he's making calls at the line. I need to see more consistency, better pocket awareness, willingness to throw it away. But then again, it's like, hey, if we can't get our offense going, then we're going to do nothing. We're going to do absolutely nothing. I need to make things happen, even if it's by myself. But the ball placement, ball accuracy, I think those things have improved. I don't see this, oh, he's Anthony Richardson. I really don't. I think he's more akin to like a Jalen Hurts. Or maybe we could meet somewhere in the middle with like a Justin Fields. All right. We got Denzel Boston, wide receiver out of Washington here at 29. He's kind of your, he's more than just a possession wide receiver. Good size, 6'4", 209, but doesn't mean he's slow. He's got really good launch speed. He could torch you vertically, but also might have the strongest hands in this class. Golly. TJ Parker, edge out of Clemson. He's a tough one to really project or rank because he's just someone you like, but don't love. He does a lot of things well. He's a 3-down player, good play strength, good twitch, good explosiveness. He checks the boxes in size and length and whatnot, but the production's just been adequate. That's it. So he's kind of tough to project just because it's like there's a high floor player in there. Do I put some of these other edge rushers who maybe lack length but are more productive ahead of him? That's kind of where I'm at. I don't really know what to do completely. Christian Miller out of Georgia, defensive tackle. He's really turned it up the last month, honestly, and has been much more productive. He was kind of my Walter Nolan coming into this season. That I was like, oh man, I'm going to have him in my top 50. Walter Nolan was a guy that I had in my top 50. It was like, hey man, he could rise up big. He did. He was inside my top 15. Miller, I don't think not say he hasn't come close to that. He hasn't nearly been as consistent as Walter Nolan was, which by the way, Walter Nolan just played Monday night, first game of the year, because he was a little banged up heading into the season. Annihilated that Cowboys offensive line. But I like Miller a lot, man. I like Miller a lot. He's got some nice traits. At 26, Chris Bell, wide receiver out of Louisville. He's stout, he's thick, but he's got some hella good speed. And then at 25, Sonny Styles, linebacker out of Ohio State. He's 6'4", 237. I should bring this up. I probably should have brought it up at the beginning. If you see asterisks, that's me. That just means they're team captains. That's what it means in the draft guide. Yeah, that's it. I mean, there's probably some of these guys on the list who have been named team captains at parts of this season that I just haven't got to. I reevaluate all that stuff at the end of the season when I have all the information in front of me. But former safety, moves exceptionally well, good size. He just checks a lot of boxes there. Keith Abney, the corner out of Arizona State at 24. I love Abney. Such a smooth, slick athlete. And in my opinion, I think he's up there with Mansour in terms of, okay, who is setting the world on fire at the corner position that are eligible for this draft. And then at 23, I have Joshua Josephs, the edge out of Tennessee. Freaky long, more stout than you would expect at his size. I think he's closer to 245, but we'll see during the offseason draft process. He's been very productive this year. Had a nasty win against Monroe Freeland in the Georgia game. At 22, I have... Okay, you know what? Let's just go over 20 through 22. So at 22, I have Caden Proctor, the offensive tackle at Alabama. Might have to be a guard because he just doesn't have the feet, but he's a good athlete at that size. And I just hate tall guards. That's just my preference with the quarterback position, getting shorter over the years. I think having 6'7" guards are kind of a problem in the passing game. But Proctor, good athlete at that size, very strong as well. You have we got Vega, Yawane out of Penn State, the guard, big Samoan that just beats the crap out of you. Heart of gold too. I think it was they showed a clip this past weekend after they got demolished by Ohio State, and this was in Columbus. He's seen hanging his head with his teammates or walking back to the locker room, but then he looks over, he sees a guy pushing a cart, needs help. He jumps the railing, goes and helps that guy. And I'm just like, F, dude. You look like a killer. You're as sweet as a teddy bear. Killer on the field, though. Parts of that Penn State team might not be playing well. He's playing exceptionally well. I really like him. He was my guard one. He was my interior one entering the year. And then Trevor Gooseby, the tackle out of Texas. I love Gooseby. He checks all those boxes with size, athleticism, length and whatnot. He really only has one hiccup this year, and that's against Florida. So I think he probably has a chance, strong, if he finishes the year strong, to be a top 10 player. Mansour Delane, corner at LSU here at 19. Would be higher if there weren't questions about his length. But then again, could end up being like this year's Jade Barron. Really can. Keldrick Folk, I list him here as an edge. I think I mentioned in my edge rankings that I might move him over to the defensive interior, being up at 285. And believe me, you look at that frame, it's like, wow, he can continue to add mass. So if you do move him to the interior, I think he probably goes into the top 15 for me. But I guess having that experience on the outside, very valuable. You can move him around the line of scrimmage. At the bare minimum, you're getting a great run defender who's still figuring out in the passing game. Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end out of Oregon, coming here at 17. People are like, oh man, I expected him to have a bigger breakout year. And it's like, he's still got pretty darn good numbers for the tight end position. Freak athlete, really good after the catch. And then let's just go to the top 16 here with Spencer Fano, guard / tackle out of Utah. There's going to be questions about the length, but he's got enough athleticism to where, no, let's try him at tackle. And then if that doesn't work, we can move him into guard. Should probably go to a zone heavy blocking scheme. And then at edge, Cassius Howe out of Texas A&M coming here at 15. I can't help it. I love this dude. And everything in my mind tells me, no, you could love him, but you could probably rank him appropriately. But he's been so productive. He gets after it. He's more put together when it comes to his pass rush toolbox than you would expect. He has experience in coverage. He's made plays in coverage. He just might have not great length. Jermon McCoy, corner out of Tennessee, coming here at 14. Hasn't played this year. He's coming off the ACL injury in January. Suffered it while he was training, potentially playing basketball. I've been saying it was in the bowl game, but I think I keep getting him confused with Terry Moore, who tore his ACL in the bowl game for Duke against Ole Miss. So I think I just keep getting that mixed up. But listen, if you watch this tape, he was easy corner one in this class. He was a top 10, top 7 prospect for me entering the year. And I just can't move him down because he hasn't played yet. So we'll wait. We'll see. He is practicing with pads. At number 13, Jeremiah Love. I feel like this is a bit high just because I don't love running backs in the top half of the first round, in the top half of my big board, or at least in my top 15, unless you are truly something special. And to be fair, Love is special. Size, speed, just violent, man. Violent. And this is a dude that relishes the physicality. He is mean. And I love it. I don't think his numbers are quite as good, I don't think they're good enough for me to put him in this blue chip tier at running back. I typically reserve that for kind of your freaks, your Sadiq or Saquons, your Ashton Genties was a guy for me just because the production was insane. Bijan Robinson. I don't like just handing those out. And I don't think Love's production this year warrants a blue chip. That's all I'm saying. You'll see players whose names are in the blue and white. Those are who I consider blue chips. Tyson Simpson, he's coming in here at 12. He's a one-year starter. Might not have the best size. He's got a good, not great arm in terms of the arm strength, but the arm talent certainly is there. Hasn't been as consistent downfield in recent weeks. Just saying. But he's already doing NFL things. From his ability to just shift protection, call audibles. Again, shifting protection, that's usually on the center in college football. In the NFL, it's going to be on the quarterback, but you don't normally see that in college football, and he does it. Just his ability to recognize what the defense is throwing at him pre-snap, knowing where, okay, this is where I want to go with the football if X, Y, and Z happens. Just, it's impressive. It's impressive. He's borderline top 10 for me at this point. We'll see. Again, we got another half of the season to play. Francis Mauigoa, this is my tackle 1. I believe he can play tackle. He's a really good athlete. I wish he played with a little bit more physicality as a pass protector, but I think you see a little bit of that stink in the run game. Again, another dude that might not have the arm length, but a good enough athlete to stick outside at tackle. David Bailey, edge out of Texas Tech, coming here at number 10. I haven't heard or seen anything that has come up from the cameraman. I'll try to look more into it, but he had an altercation after the Arizona State game. Didn't get suspended or anything like that. So I'm hoping it's not that serious. He doesn't have a history of character concerns. I mean, he actually comes from a pretty good family. His older brother played football at Harvard. Smart. Yeah, David Bailey, he might not have ideal length, but he's an unbelievable athlete. Rare speed for the position. He's up there in terms of win rate with Ruben Bain, who will be in the top 10 if you didn't know. Peter Woods, defensive interior out of Clemson. If he was more productive, if the pass rush win rate and the pressures and such were a little bit better, he would be higher being a blue chip. But in terms of what he brings to the table, an elite athlete for the position, someone who just consistently creates havoc, even if that havoc doesn't hit home. There have been multiple plays where he was just outside of the reach, and that's the thing that maybe has shorter arms for the interior than you would expect. We'll find out in the offseason draft process. Let's just go ahead, finish out the top 10 here. Carnell Tate's here at 8. I got 3 wide receivers inside my top 10. Inside my top 8, I have Makai Lemon at 7. I have Carnell Tate at 8. Makai Lemon, I'm a sucker for yak. It just becomes a preference thing with me. I'm sorry. I love those types of wide receivers. Carnell Tate does everything well. So polished. If he's your wide receiver 1, I'm not going to fight you on it. I mean, all these guys are in my top 8. And then at 6, Arvell Reese. The only reason, because I went in, I was like, you know what? Let's take a look. Let's take a gander at his prospects as a pass rusher in the NFL. Because that's the only way I'm going to put this guy inside my top 10. As a pass rusher, strictly from the edge. I'm not talking like coming off a blitz. 21% pass rush win rate. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay. So you're saying this is a guy who stupid fast, very explosive, powerful. I have him at 2 pounds. Well, that's not right. Let me adjust that. I must have accidentally deleted his weight. All right. I think he's like 243. Yeah, he's 243. Okay, let's take care of that. 243. Arvell Reese. All right. So he's very powerful. He's very explosive. That's the thing. He's fast. He's explosive. He's bendy. He can do it off ball. I'm not going to say he's great in coverage. He's solid. He's solid in coverage. He's okay. But it's what he does rushing the passer. So with the ability to potentially be an edge player that offers you a little bit more, that's why he's in my top 10. That is why he's in my top 10. All right. We got number 5, Fernando Mendoza. And both my quarterbacks are here. So at 4, Dante Moore out of Oregon. At 5, Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana. They're really only up here just because of how valuable the quarterback position is. I try to take into consideration positional value. So these guys are up there for that reason. They probably would be outside or at least around my top 10, but they get the bump. They get the bump. They would be closer to where Ty Simpson is now. Ty Simpson would probably just sneak into or just be outside of my top 20 if that were the case. Because all these quarterbacks have question marks. None of them are perfect prospects. You hardly ever get a perfect prospect. Rarely ever. But even then, to be in the top 5, do I look at these guys like, a Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May coming out? No, I think maybe some of them are more akin to, guys like JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix, and Bo Nix, who are all outside of my top 10 in that draft. Some were outside of my top 20. Now, I just bring those names up just to give you an idea of, okay, well, what tier are they in? What group are they closer to? They would be closer to that second group. What they got working for him is age. Bo Nix, Michael Penix, those were older guys who had a lot of seasoning under them. Mendoza, hey, he's a multi-year starter. You can't say that about Moore or Simpson. So it really speaks to what they bring to the table, whether it's how they've played thus far this year or their arm talent. And in Moore's case, the arm talent, I think, is pretty darn good. But yeah, I'm going to be constantly looking at this quarterback position, trying to figure out where should I have it on my big board. But if I'm picking first overall and I need a quarterback, I would take a swing on one of these guys. And that's why they're in my top 5. You could even make the case for Ty Simpson. Like I said, a guy that just keeps inching up my list. At number 3, Jordan Tyson. Things need to check out medically with him. He had the ACL injury at Colorado. Last year, he had the broken collarbone that caused him to miss the college football playoff for Arizona State. And then he's been hampered by a hamstring injury this year. None of them, there's no correlation there, but you can't be made of glass. So I haven't really taken into consideration that as of right now. I'm just looking at the talent and saying, I would take this guy in the top 5. He's that good of a wide receiver prospect. He's improved on some stuff like the focus drops, not really there. But the medicals might be important. I say might, will be important. I think, though, your top 2 prospects in this class are easily Ruben Bain Jr. out of Miami, the edge, and Caleb Downs, the safety at Ohio State. Whether you have one over the other, I don't think it really matters. Ruben Bain doesn't have great arm length. They're going to be sub 33 inch. But how does he combat that? I don't know, by being twitchy, bendy, and so complete as a pass rusher. Like, he has some of the best hand usage in this class. Caleb Downs, dude, looks a lot bigger than 6', 205. He plays with the demeanor of a linebacker, but has the athleticism of, I don't want to say a cheetah, maybe a leopard. Maybe a leopard or a puma. He moves well. I mean, that's why he has punt returns for touchdowns, whether it was his freshman year at Alabama or his sophomore year last season at Ohio State. It's so hard to nitpick things not to like about Downs. And really, Ruben Bain edges out Downs just because of the positional value. Edge is more valuable than safety. But yeah, I have 4 blue chippers as of right now in this class. They're all on the defensive side of the football. Arvell Reese and Peter Woods, they're further down despite being blue chippers because of the position they play. Though Arvell Reese, really, if you're going to consider him as an edge, then that value probably should be higher. But there is my top 100. That was a hell of a long video. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully this put eyes on a lot of guys for you. And if you want more evals, if you want to know more about this class, you should probably get the draft guide. But as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.